today of how I can expand again. So, oh my gosh, good. It's my slide. That's me. That's kind of all the logos for what we do. We started as a sports and event photography company. We also do photo booths. But the newest thing that I do is called Express Headshots. So Express Headshots is the idea of not having to go to a studio and spend a half an hour or an hour or actually go somewhere. We build a portable headshot studio and we create headshots for you in an express environment in 5 to 10 minutes, which is something that's real important to me. So the importance of headshots, of course, is pretty much everyone needs them as a visual communication form, but we'll get to that in a few minutes. So slide 1 is introduction, blah, 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 blah. Now, my story really starts as a 6-year-old kid who gets his first camera and starts taking pictures with an Instamatic that's like 110 and actually had film. But at the time, also, I had to buy my own film and buy my own development. So I very quickly learned the business side of how much it exactly takes to take a picture. So I basically had to know all the income. Or not, I didn't have income then, of course I was 6 years old, but I had expenses, and that's one of the things that's always been forefront to a nerd person like me that's all about numbers. Something that's also been very important to me is carving my own way in business. I don't want to steal someone else's business. I don't want to take somebody else's idea. I don't want to just basically cannibalize other business that's out there, so I create my own. And I did that in 2010. I built a second photo booth in Lake County, which is over there. That's been moved on to digital photo booths and spinning photo booths and all kinds of stuff like that. I'm not going to be the photographer that steals business by going out into the woods and taking a picture of your family with a white t-shirt and blue jeans on and everybody. I'm out. I'm not going to take birthing photos. I'm out. There are people that love doing that, and it's not me. I'm not chasing you to the hospital. To the point, one of the hospitals near me was building a new building, and they asked if I would take some pictures inside, and I'm like, only if there's no patients, because that's beyond anything that I would ever possibly ever want to do. So 2010, the first photo booth was then. We moved on to digital. We moved on to spinning photo booths. And that's a great weekend job. Most people don't call for a photo booth like on a Tuesday at 3. You know, most people aren't running a triathlon, Wednesdays at 10:30. So this is a great weekend job. But I needed to fill some more time. Still a lot of mornings I wasn't doing anything during the week. People aren't really driving their Jeep around Daytona Speedway then. They're not biking, they're not running, they're not doing that. So that's where I came up with the idea of Express Headshots. You can come to 1 Million Cups with new businesses or new ideas. The idea with Express Headshots originally was called Headshots at Happy Hour. Headshots at Happy Hour, this was the idea that I brought to you and got feedback on the first time. It said, create a social environment that people are comfortable and want to be at, and also include headshots as part of the experience. So you might come to a space like this, maybe with your friends, have a drink or two, some appetizers, and at the same time, we'll have a headshot studio set up so you can get your headshots done. It's kind of like people put off doing headshots it's like going to the doctor. You kind of have to get it done, and you want to get it done, and you really like the results usually after you feel better, but you'd really do everything you can to not go there. But what if it was a social environment that you would go to, and it's friendly, and it's happy, and you're not intimidated by, trudging out to a studio with a photographer that takes a half an hour in 17 poses and 3 makeup changes and costumes, not really costumes, it's called wardrobe in this business, but it doesn't have to be that way. So Headshots at Happy Hour, there's a big X on the page because the feedback from that group was, we don't really want another event. Even though this sounds like a really great idea, we're busy. We don't want to go out again at night. Great. The group really liked the idea of Express Headshots and what we were doing and how it's different and interesting. But we don't want to go out again. We want to be home at our families. We're already out at the ribbon cutting, we're already out at the networking, we're already out at our company meeting, we're already out. So that feedback was around, we don't want another night out or a new event. We want they really liked the idea, but they said, bring it to an event that's already existing and add on to somewhere that we're already going to be. I'm like, of course, let's try it. Let's see what happens. So feedback summary. Oh gosh, I just said that. And I'm still getting used to this, having a monitor up in front of me. This is kind of cool. We don't want another event to go to. Add this as service to, I already said that. So we did that. About once per quarter over the last year, we integrated headshots into another event, and guess what? Made some money doing it. So it was worth that presentation. It was worth coming here. It was worth getting that feedback and then implementing it, because that's exactly what we did. So, we went to the Realtors Association. I went to a college event where they were having a business expo, and we did, we worked with college students there. I went to office buildings where we did headshots for everybody at the office. We did a police department headshot session which is different than mugshots, by the way. We're a lot better lit, and people are a lot more cooperative. I asked about doing mugshots. They're like, no. They got it. Because I didn't have anything to do during the week, I might as well do mugshots. Sheriff Purnell, whatever. But he declined. I would like them better, by the way, because when you're looking through those on the internet later on Monday morning to see who you know, you want a good shot. But a true story, Hollywood, California has photo lighting in their headshot area to make it look, just so you know, if you ever get arrested, that's where you want to be. Yeah. So for 2025, I know this event style headshot, I know it works because we've done it now. And the ask today is, what's keeping me up at night is I want to do more of it. We're still not busy. I have my weekend morning job, which is sporting events, my weekend night job, which is red carpet and photo booths. But all those days during the week, it's great to prospect business, it's great, but every minute my camera's in my hand is like happy time to me. Not just in my hand, but actually being used and being to photograph people and to be able to capture their image and honor their image and getting great feedback from that. So the ask today is, what out-of-the-box places have a need for an express headshot event? And I couldn't put tons of examples because the room's only so big I wanted people to see. There's a couple examples up there. This is from the student event. This is a super neat event we did. I forgot to talk about it. This was an event for cancer patients in recovery where they got new wigs. So we had a makeup artist there, and we were doing headshots for them, and it was so meaningful. It was so wonderful with one of the, this is just regular headshots, and then student actors, we did that too. So that's some of the things we did. I think I've covered most everything on my notes. I put 3 jokes in, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Where is somewhere you've already be that taking 5 minutes to update your headshot would seem like a great idea? So that was the ask for today. I'll put that back on here. My name is Byron. What questions can I answer?
Give Byron a round of applause. Thank you, Byron. All right, so we will have our organizers come around with the microphones and get your feedback. And thank you, Byron, for a candid and fantastic presentation.
Hey,
let's tell them what your suggestions are, everyone.
Hey, Byron.
Hi.
First of all, great presentation.
Thank you so much.
For a really good job. I'm going to sit down because I have this death fear in my head blocking that camera. But Colin Van Exel from Accelerated Sales Solutions. Having been in sales most of my career, and I don't know if there's how you do it, but I've been to so many business shows, especially technical business shows, where I can't recall seeing anyone like you at them. And you're already dressed, you're already in your company garb, and there, to be quite honest with you, there's a ton of dead time where you're just standing around, especially like on the last day. I can't imagine you wouldn't get business out of that. So Orange County Convention Center, all the hotels down in I-Drive, all that stuff. It's weird. I can't think of anyone like you being at those. So that might be something that there's probably a reason, but I'll let you go dig that out.
Yeah, so convention work. Yeah, love it.
Hey, Byron, I'm going to sit as well.
But, okay.
Like, if you want to tie those two things together, Orange County Convention Center does a ton of things, like with high school athletes, and they have all these sports shows, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so maybe the teams need photos, maybe the players need photos. They do them there. They do them at ESPN, Disney Center, where they
Oh,
have,
okay.
I don't know, a bunch of all kinds of stuff going on there. Even, I want to get your information, this guy next to my office, right, in Oakland, this is crazy, but what he does is he pulls in high school baseball players.
Okay.
And he videos them batting the ball.
Okay.
He's got a video thing. He tests pitchers, you know, I don't know, maybe that combines sports with like doing work during the week. So there you go.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, absolutely. Like headshots and portraits of them is great.
I've been
Hey.
seeing a lot of value out of like colleges providing this type of service, and they're doing that a lot. They're also asking for like a 40% rev share, so like you might have to charge students $100 to get the headshots done. But at a lot of their conference and their hiring events, people are looking for that for their LinkedIn profile or whatever it be.
Okay.
Hi, I'm going to stand this time.
Sure.
My name is Jared Taylor. I'm the founder and CEO of Sugarloaf Partners, which is a fundraising consulting firm for nonprofits. To answer your question about out-of-box places, there are some very well-deserving charities such as Find, Feed, and Restore, New Beginnings, Coalition for the Homeless, and obviously there's the staff, but the clients that go there for food services, that have healthcare. That may be a conversation you're having with the organization that the organization is paying you, but those people would appreciate that hand up from you.
Awesome. Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi,
everyone.
good morning.
Brian. My name is Rose Atherton, Jasper Travel. One idea that comes to me is my husband is an engineer at Lockheed Martin, and I know that
Perfect.
once a month they do social hours after work, and they meet at like local different places in Orlando. But that would be a great opportunity because he hasn't had a headshot in 20 years, so he looks a little different. But it's a place where you get people, they're still in their professional garb, ready to go.
Yep.
And they might be receptive to that. So.
Hello, my name is Mark. I'm a local real estate agent. And by the way, I'm with EXP, but my slogan is Southern Home Specialist, opening doors to new beginnings. Just want to get that out there. But you mentioned you went to the Realtors Association, right?
Uh-huh.
Now, to me, there's no reason you shouldn't contact all the real estate offices, because every time I get a card from a real estate agent, I'm like, I'm taking a double look at them.
Oh, I know. That's why, perfectly honest, like that's why I went there first.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, okay, like who hasn't had a headshot since film? And then let's go digital. So, yeah.
Exactly, but I think you should really contact the different offices and try to get with them and offer it to all their agents coming in. And not only just popped in my head, churches, pastors, the organization, they have organizations there, they need headshots for their websites and so on and so. Maybe that's a good place for you to start also.
Hi there,
Hey,
Savannah
good morning.
Boa with M Agency. I was just thinking, have you thought about maybe technical colleges?
Sure. I mean, that's a great idea.
Yeah, I was
Just
thinking
getting in
because
there
a lot
and
of those guys, I mean, they'll need them for their licensing and stuff.
All right, I get one.
okay.
How about 1 million cups every Wednesday? If you could contract the venue and say, I can set up a corner somewhere. Wednesday, people dress beautiful. They can just, after work, after mingling, just come there and get a quick shot. Every Wednesday, you can rotate from
Go on. Ocala, Daytona, Orlando. I'd be good for 100 weeks.
Yeah.
I'll be happy to chime in. Linda Brady with Star Business LLC. I'm actually trying to understand the question. I know what it means, but I would love for you to really rephrase it a little bit. And I would love for you to be asking, who do you think really need my pictures? Not the places, but the people, because you'll follow the people to the places where they hang out. And I would almost want to challenge you to really identify the very first group that you want to perhaps relaunch, rebirth, recreate your product and launch there and become the mind share, become the top, most incredible, phenomenal photographer for that particular group, so everyone is talking about you. And then replicate that business idea with other organizations, but you have to find out if the people need that, right? So for me, as someone who works on minimum viable products with my clients, I would not necessarily be asking the places for headshots. I'd be asking who are the people that will benefit from my product, and I would follow my journey there and create my whatever product you're developing, work on that, create a business model that's replicable, sustainable, that you can basically cut and paste into other industries. That would be my suggestion, recommendation.
Okay. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. I think I come from the mindset that everybody needs a headshot, but there's a, personal branding, and to focus and specialize is a great idea. It's like laser focused on.
And I have a saying that I always say: when you try to talk to everyone, you end up speaking to no one. Yeah.
Hey, Justin Allender with First National Bank of Mount Dora. One that came to mind are people who have the money to do it for their staff. Might be like doctors, dentists, and lawyers.
We actually did do a doctor's office in the Villages. I was just too afraid they were going to come in with gowns.
Hi, good morning. Jackie Peterson, Splash Social Marketing. Kind of piggybacking off of Lenko, which I do a lot. I love the idea of you specializing, and with your sports background, I love the idea of, I don't know who brought it up, but of getting with the sports trainers and places like that. These kids that are really working towards moving up, they need headshots, they need action shots, they need video. I don't know if you do that, but what's the name of the baseball place, the batting cage, but where the
D-bat? D-bat?
The big house in the middle.
D-bat?
Okay. I obviously I can't remember the name, but like there's a local place here where the teams go and like they are really coaching these kids. They're not just out on the fields having fun. I think that would be a great place for you to go and just start having some conversations, and they would be able to then start introducing you into that whole world that absolutely needs it, and then you can really shine as that sports photographer.
Byron, let me ask you a question while we get a couple more. What has typically been more successful for you, meeting establishments where they are? I mean, you're getting suggestions from both sides. For you in the past, what has worked? You find an event space like The View and you post up there, or if you were to find a church or a large office complex, have you seen success in both of those? Like, stationary or events? Which one do you have a preference that you're leaning toward?
Sure. So the business model is not not to do microtransactions where each person actually pays themselves. It's a package so going to your office, and I know there's going to be 25 people, so I know it's going to take 2.5 hours. We're going to have editing time and distribution time. So we can price it like that. So my success, and then if I go to like a convention space or to like Beacon College, we know we're going to have this. So those both work when we know basically the number of participants and the number of time. And that's just because of the business model. So, going to a happy hour event, we would have sold tickets ahead of time so we knew how much, know those things and can adjust. Because we want to be efficient with, my time as a photographer and the equipment, but also with the people to be able to work in. So both of those have been successful because we know and we can plan ahead, and it's priced as a package rather than one person, two person, three person.
Okay.
And it's great with sponsorship too. People were talking about being like on the convention center floor. That's a great idea, sponsored by the big mocker company. And guess what? All the signage, all the branding, here's your headshot. you get it back. I'm not going to brand someone's headshot with the brand mark. We do that a lot on photos, but on your email back, thank you so much to the big mocker company for providing these services to everybody, blah, 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 blah.
So you really do have a lot of flexibility. You can package ahead of time, or you can kind of work reactively based on what the feedback is at the event.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
That's a good, I think, for us as potential consumers or giving you advice on this, knowing that you are that flexible to work from event to venue and everywhere in between based on how you organize your packages it's a good point.
It is this big. So this is 8 feet long and like 7 feet tall and 5 feet wide. I mean, I guess I need space for me to stand behind the cameras, but it's very flexible as far as, and I shoot everything on white. We do all the digital backgrounds. I think I have some in the other slide. The gray is not, but all the rest of that, I mean, it's all very efficient.
There are a couple other hands based on, there you go.
Hey!
There you go. Stand up.
I'm Tara Zale. I'm with Bryan Pfeiffer State Farm Insurance Agency.
Good.
So one of the suggestions I was going to have is young professionals. There's a lot of young professional groups. A lot of them don't know what to do once they start to enter their careers, or where to go, how to go about it. So that's a great thing. So to get them started and give them a boost. Another one is I have a 19-year-old who's going to be graduating from EMT school.
Oh yeah.
So it's those types of things where they're graduating from schools or colleges, and they're going to go out in the world and they can present themselves professionally. So it's just completely different generations, but it's a great leg up for them. So just kind of a suggestion.
Hi, good morning. I'm Monica Mattia with Digital Universe Marketing and Advertising, and I just want to piggyback on what Jackie mentioned about the sports. My youngest son is on a club volleyball team.
Oh, good.
And for the last 2 months, we have had tournaments every single weekend in different areas. So I think that is a great area for you to be able to come set up, not just for headshots, but those action shots that you were talking about from the sports. And I think that also opens up the opportunity for even growth in the other areas of your business, like senior pictures, right? A lot of these young kids are, like my son's coming into senior year, and he's homeschooled. So he doesn't have a school that he's tied to. So I've got to start thinking about where do I go to take him to do his senior pictures. So just, definitely a good, you have so many different sports, basketball tournaments, softball tournaments that you can kind of dip into. You could be busy for months and months.
I've seen this business model work in the past. We went to Synapse, which is down in Tampa.
Okay.
The person did about 800 headshots in
Perfect.
1 day.
Love it.
And had a rev share agreement with the conference where he probably made about 20 grand. And the conference themselves probably made about 60 off of it. We paid $100 for the headshot. But definitely the rev share model seems to make a little bit more sense to me than trying to find a sponsor or trying to find someone to individually pay for everything that you're doing.
Hi, I'm Antoinette. I'm with AE Pinnacle Accounting. And, a lot of people touched on some good stuff. And also, you're already doing great things like out-of-the-box creative work you've already done, like even there in the hospital. But to piggyback on some of the others, homeschool is a big community now. I've been homeschooling forever, but it's been a recent surge, I think, since COVID. And now a lot more people are withdrawing their kids from school. I don't know if you heard of PEP, but it's like another type of homeschool program where they get money from the government to homeschool, so like $8,000 a kid. And I'm starting to see like more businesses that are catered to homeschoolers. So I actually mentioned like senior pictures and, different vendors. I don't know if there's like maybe a way that you could become like a part of that list, because now these parents would actually have that money to spend. I've seen other like sports like dance and things like that becoming vendors. And now they can put their kids in sports and do things that they've been wanting to do. So maybe like the headshots, the sports photography. I know I'm very familiar with the dance community. Sports tourism here is huge.
Oh yeah,
Everyone
definitely.
comes to Orlando. There's big competitions. You could do like, you know, pictures, video of like them doing their little tricks and, you know, with the scarves and everything. And then maybe a revenue share with like some of the conference centers for that. So those are some good ideas, especially now the homeschooling is a really good one. Because typically in the past, homeschooling was like one income household. So parents, they kind of struggle a little bit with money. But now with these PEP, especially if you've got multiple kids, and you're getting $8,000 a kid to spend on extracurriculars and photos and curriculum, it might be worth looking into becoming a vendor with that. So that's my piece.
Hey.
Hi, Ryan.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
So I wanted to just maybe comment on something that I hadn't heard anybody mention yet. You do the studio, you set it up, you go create a client, right? Or you establish a relationship with a client. My question is a lot of those teams that you shoot, attorneys, doctors' offices, they change members of their team all the time.
Oh, yeah.
So how often are you reaching out to your existing clients and letting them know, hey, I'm still here? You mentioned that everybody should have a headshot. I totally agree with you, but they also need to be updated. So, you know, once a year, like how many touch points are you doing? That it's a hypothetical, or you know, for you to ponder on. So.
Oh no, it's annual. Like the way I've built all of my business twice is on recurring events. So annual. I'll.
You're only talking to them one time a year.
They're for the one-off. Yeah, there's certain. Yes, annual. I mean, I'm talking to them, but we set up an event with, you know, the college event. I know it's coming up every year in March. So guess what? We're ready. Annual.
So I don't have to shout.
Yeah.
So just to that point, though, for the doctor's offices, for the clients that you have that are not an annual event, you don't know when they're changing over their staff. So it's not that they don't need it, they just forgot about it. Or they forgot that you do it. So I think you'd be surprised how many times if you talk to somebody that you haven't seen in a while, and I know it's annoying for all of us as business owners, we encounter that no matter what field you're in. Like, oh, you went and got another accountant. Why didn't you talk to me first? You got another headshot, but I just did that for you. It's just because we're not on their mind when they need us. The pain point exists. We're just not there when they're asking for it. So that's all I'm saying is increase the number of times you're talking to them and see how much of your current clients can become reoccurring clients.
Quick question here.
Yes, hi.
I mean, when you presented your idea, I mean, you have the concept of happy hour, right?
Yes.
And what we are discussing here is the more formal business events, right? So, and this is kind of a business-to-business model, right? The paying customer is another business rather than each person. That's what you're saying. I mean, you don't want each person
that's how we've done it so far.
Yeah. So
I mean, if it works the other way, and apparently it does, I'm open to, yeah.
And that's the idea, you know, how to brainstorm something that is different, because in most of the business environment, you will have a lot of competition, right? I mean, a lot of other photographers that are offering their service. So if you come up with a different idea, like you know, the happy hour, but I mean, not creating the event, but participating in those events. I mean, there are a lot of, I've seen Facebook groups that do many events on restaurant, bars, and things like that, that the idea of those events also is promoting the venue. So you see, I mean, many groups that try to bring a lot of people on that particular restaurant. So if you can interact with that restaurant, for example, say, hey, I mean, I know that you are promoting this group and this venue. What about putting a headshot here in a more informal, you know, event as well? So just food for thought, but it's going to be different from the formal business environment.
Okay, I'm bringing back the sports. I think it's because I know so many people that do headshots for business.
Okay.
And I don't, maybe because that's the sphere I'm in all the time, and I don't hear as much for the sports. But if you're a little bit more intentional when you're going into the doctor's offices, places like that, and choosing ones that might benefit from sponsoring those pictures for athletes.
Mm-hmm.
So ones that are, acupuncturists that work with professional sports people, or that they have supplements or health things. Those people want to get in front of the athletes. You could be the bridge, and now you're kind of working both of those things to feed into one another.
I will wrap us up, I think, by saying this might be coming from my mom mode, but I'm hearing a lot of talk about sports and kids and things. What kind of credentials do you have about Byron and your business that you're offering, or you're able to offer some of these organizations as you approach them about, say, a recurring business model, or you approach a school or a homeschool group? Do you have any sort of a history of Byron or anything like that? Just some credentials to offer. Like I said, from my mom mode, you have your headshots and things, and there was kind of a point where we were touching on services and things. If you're going to a major company, maybe they want to put, in their email signatures, here's who you should expect to come to your home. Here's the technician that you should expect, so that when I open my door, I see that same person. So I'm almost looking, that's credibility, that's credentials to me of that company. So I'm almost looking for that same thing from you as eSportsPhoto to present to some of these potential new clients. Why should I pick Byron? Why should I trust Byron to be behind the camera with these athletes that are trying to get scholarships and NIL deals and admissions to colleges? What sets you apart? What's your kind of, I know you have that levity, I can imagine that you can probably make some people feel a little bit more comfortable in the front of the camera to get some good. So just maybe, I'm sorry for a cheesy term, but toot your own horn a little bit and say why you're different, because you do have a potential for a unique model and you have so many different ways you can go. Tell me why we should choose you, because your setup's portable, but what is it about Byron that I already know that I think would make you the right choice for my organization to be behind that camera?
So photographers, we just lean on our portfolio, what we've done and what we can show. And I have that. I have sportraits, I have headshots, I have running and jumping and wherever the remote went, back to those, I have all that, and that's work. So that's how I get jobs right now, is showing images like this and that. On the technical side, I also have like my safe schools card, I call it, where, I've done the fingerprints and the background checks and all those things. So if you're thinking about your schools and your home schools, and, we have all of that pieces too. And really, a lot of photography is the psychology and is a lot of the personality of the person to bring out the best in their subject. Because I really want to, it's as much work to photograph someone who's grumpy and mean that's going to hate their pictures later than it is just to make sure they look good the first time. So the personality is really, once I call someone on the phone or I meet with them, hopefully that's as much of a selling point as anything. So there's I don't have letters after my name. I didn't actually go to photography school, but I do go every year to upgrade and see what's going on at different conferences and events like that. Photographers, there's not really a licensing process.
I think the safe schools and the fingerprinting, that's what I was getting at, because I think that's important to have. And if you go ahead and deliver that out of the gate with, here's my packages, but also here's me. I'm credentialed, I am, safe schools, all that. I think that's a really important kind of value add proposition, right? Extra piece that you already have in there, that I'm credible, I'm safe, I'm verified. I think that's an important piece. So.
And we have, all the venues we go to, we can provide insurance. There are a lot of companies that do similar to what I do, especially that they just bought the equipment and they show up. So you're right. We have.
It's not the fun stuff, but I feel like that's back end important stuff that gives you that extra leg up. So any other last minute feedback, and make sure you guys get his contact information up here, because you might think of something as you're having a swing at a golf ball out there or something.
They made me put it in big print for Lake County. So
we did.
Take pictures, right? That's it. Whatever. No.
And I'll stop standing in front of it too.
Hey. So my feedback, being in the brand world for a long time, right now, Sounds like when I look at your brand, you are exclusive to a category. I would highly recommend before you go get super established to rebrand yourself, to be more flexible and not put yourself in a box.
Yep.
Because one, it's going to create confusion. You're going to lose leads because of that. They're going to make assumptions. And it's going to just become very costly from a marketing and brand perspective over time. But that was just like the first thing that stood out to me. Is that if you're going to be in other categories, you might have started that way.
I agree.
But a lot of people do that, and then they realize like, oh God, that's all I am, and then that's all they know you as. But anyway, it's a lot cheaper to do it early than to try to do it later. Trust me. Like, don't wait. If you're going to expand.
That's a great point. And if that is something that you find yourself doing, we do have the ability for you to come back in 6 months for a refill presentation to let us know how that potential rebrand or a little bit of a pivot
made new
works,
shirts.
So.
No, not really.
Any connections for a seamstress or a monogrammer or anyone? Well, thank you all so much. Again,
Thanks,
make sure to grab Byron's information there.